to another episode of Introduction to World of Tanks presented by the Armored Knights. Today's episode is going to be the tech tree. We're just going to talk about the tech tree, the different nuances, some of the symbology, and as always, if you have any specific questions, you can always get to worldoftanks.com, or if you feel the need, you can always come to join our TeamSpeak server at Armored Knights and ask your question, and we'll be glad to help you out. So let's get started. Your tech tree, top of your garage, in the bar. The intention of the tech tree is to show you all the tanks available, the different lines, whether they be light, medium, TDs, artillery, etc. As you can see with the Japanese line, they only have the one line of tanks, and they're all mediums. A little bit easy when you're dealing with the Japanese. Once you get to the Russians, the Americans, a lot of tanks in there, and that can be a little overwhelming for the first time player, not sure what they're looking at or how to read it. So we'll try and show you what they mean. We'll go to the French since it's a pretty straightforward and easy to read. Every tech tree is the same. They just might have more tanks. In this case here, we have the TDs across the top row, as you can see, and then we have the heavies along the next row, the mediums along the third row, and the artillery on the last row. When you're looking at the tech tree, you can see the arrows pointing to each tank, so you know going from the B1, the next tank up would be the BDR G1B heavy tank. In some of these other countries, you'll have various arrows that could lead off to even other lines, whether they be the medium line or even the TD line or artillery line. So when you're looking at the tech tree, you want to kind of pay attention to these arrows, especially if you have a specific tank in mind. If you know you want to get to the 50B at the top, then you know you need to follow the specific line of tanks. So that's really what the tech tree is used for, is to just keep an eye on so you can have a goal in mind and know which direction you need to go to get there. Again, we'll look at one of the other countries here in a little bit where they offer a lot of offshoots to different lines, etc., which can throw some curveballs in there. Some big things to look at. When you have your tech tree, if you see it faded out, such as over here on mine, then that means you do not have it researched and it's not even available. The green box, that means that you have the tank below it. So in this case here, I have the 1375 unlocked. I don't currently have it in my garage, but I do have it unlocked and have run it. And I currently have 8,000 XP towards the 1390. So if you have a box with a green box number below it, then that means that you are working on that specific tank. If you have a tank that has the gold box with the credit number in there, then that means you have it unlocked and you can buy it. In some cases like here, it seems to be permanently displayed. Other ones like here, it's not displayed unless you put your mouse on it. So but don't be fooled. You see the gold box, that means that you've already owned it, you've already run it, you've already gone through it, and you can go back and rebuy it if you'd like to. So that's what that means. The gold check mark on there means that it's currently in your garage. So on the French line, the only tank that I currently have in my garage is the AMX AC-46. The other thing you'll see on these tech trees are your premium tanks. Now, premium tanks, of course, cannot be researched, and they cannot be paid for with credits. The only way you can buy them is either with real cash in the gift shop via the worldoftanks.com website, or with gold in-game. So in the case of these premium tanks here, they do have the gold buy block on them, and then it has a gold number, which would equate to how much gold it would cost to buy that one. So if you want to buy the FCM 36 pack 40, it would cost you 850 gold. In order to buy it, you just click on it, and it would ask you, it'd show you all the stuff, and then you can click on the bar and it'll buy it. I don't want to buy it, so I'm not going to do that. But needless to say, that's what you do for the premium tanks. If we go to some of these other ones, let's go to the German. As you can see, there's just a lot more going on here. From the Marder 2, there's 3 separate lines you can split off to. And these are multiple TD lines. Down here, the PZ3A splits off into what eventually turns into a heavy line, or you can also split off into what turns into a medium line. So again, when you're going through these different tanks and you're researching and trying to figure out where you need to go, it's a good idea to pay attention to these, because you don't want to get sidetracked. In some cases, some of these don't necessarily dead end, but they can kind of stop, such as the Chaffee on the American side. You get to the Chaffee and it basically stops, and then the only option to go there from the Chaffee at that point is go up to Artie. I don't understand how they have a connection from a Chaffee into Artie, but there are those kind of semi-dead end lines around there, so you want to be careful of that kind of stuff. You don't want to spend all that time getting up there and then all of a sudden it dead ends and nowhere else to go. So kind of keep an eye on that, pay attention to it. And then anytime there's a major patch or change, you want to look at the tech tree again, because as you can see here, I've got a faded out one right in the middle of a major line. I've already got the E100, and yet this one's grayed out. So how did I get there without going through here? Because at some point there was a major patch that included a lot of additional tanks, and the tech tree changed, and voila, I bypassed 2 whole tanks that I never had to get to because they weren't in the game when I had already gotten past them, etc. A couple of other good shows of that is like the IS-4. I got the IS-4 before the STI even came around. Once they added it, boom, there it is. So it's kind of, and I've also never had the KB4. So whenever there's major patch additions and tech tree changes, you want to keep an eye on that, because that may actually change your path to get to where you're going. Some other things that they'll show on here, if you have elite status, mastery badges, all that kind of stuff, all these little symbologies on here, those don't really mean anything other than kind of giving you heads up on what you're doing. The other thing that I find the tech tree useful for is for actually buying tanks. In other words, if I wanted to buy the SU-14-1, I would not go to the store and try and find it there. The store is not user friendly when it comes to just seeing what's out there and what you can buy and what you're eligible for. Going through the tech tree is actually a lot easier, because as I said, all you do is put your mouse on there and it shows you how much it is, and if you want to buy it, all you do is click on it. And in this case here, we'll only click on it again because I don't have the credits to buy it, but it's a lot easier to buy tanks from the tech tree side while you're looking at it. It's just a little bit easier to manipulate and to look and see what you're trying to do. So that's the tech tree. Real simple, real easy. It's not difficult to figure out. It's just, again, just pay attention to it while you're running through the different tanks and the different tiers, so you can kind of keep your eye on the prize. Nothing worse than get diverted. If you want to go to the mouse, you get diverted and go down the wrong line. Next thing you know, you're not going towards the mouse, you're going to a different tank. So just something to keep in mind while you're running the tech tree, is to keep your eye on the prize, know what your tank next that you need to go to. In a lot of cases, once the tech tree evens out, such as the already up here, there's only one way to go, so it's pretty simple. But in some cases, you'll get a lot of splits and turns and whatnot that could kind of get you off track. So keep an eye on that, and then you'll be fine. Hope that helps. And once again, this is not supposed to be an end-all, be-all of all information. This is just generalities. If you have any specific questions or concerns, worldoftanks.com is probably the best way to go. If you can't find an answer there, or if you want a quick answer, or just want to hang out and run some tanks, come check us out at www.armoredknights.us. Jump on our TeamSpeak, and we'll be glad to answer any questions. We do training, and we can help you out, help you grind, or just answer questions you might have about the game. That's all for now, and hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned. Thanks.